Hello, I'm Michael Acton Smith and I run a games company in London called Mind Candy, and our big hit, our monster hit, is a game called Moshi Monsters, which is the world of adoptable pet monsters. Sort of like a cross between Tamagotchi and Facebook for kids. We've got about 40 million children all around the world signed up playing, and they do puzzles, they play games, they upload their artwork, they go on missions and explore this weird and wonderful, colourful world of Moshi. You can see a bit of it behind me. The wise owl is sitting in the tree. And we've just moved to Shoreditch. This is our brand new office. We're having a big launch party tonight. We've got the DJ decks here, grass on the floor, PA system, bands coming down, so it should be a lot of fun. What we're doing with Moshi now, kids love it so much, we're sort of expanding offline. So we just launched a magazine, we've got a video game, we've got books and trading cards and toys and a whole host of other fun stuff. So we're building a sort of new type of entertainment company for this digital generation of kids. And yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Okay. When you started Moshi Monsters, obviously, I'm sure you would have had high hopes for it, but has it just grown beyond all kind of hope of an ambition for what you had?
Yeah, so I've had a bit of an unusual entrepreneurial journey. I set up my first business when I left university, sort of in 1998. That was firebox.com. We sold toys and games and gadgets online. But then I set up Mind Candy about 2004. We raised a lot of money. We created one game called Perplexity that was a global treasure hunt. Creatively it was amazing, but commercially it was not so good. And we burnt our way through most of the cash. And then with our last bit of money, we had a final roll of the dice with Moshi Monsters, which took off amazingly well. So I think that's the exciting thing about being an entrepreneur, this roller coaster ride that you're on. You kind of have these huge highs and these crashing lows, and it's scary but exciting, chaotic, and I love it. I think it's so much more exciting than working for a big corporation or a bank where you're a tiny cog in a huge machine. You know, you're in control. You kind of are the master of your destiny. I just think that's awesome.
Okay. I've got a toddler who's 2 years old, not quite, so I'm just wondering, he's obviously a bit too young for Moshi Monsters at the moment, but what can I expect in the next few years for Moshi? Is he going to be, is it still going to be around in 4 years, 5 years time?
Absolutely. I think, Moshi is, we're just at the start of this journey. We're only a few years in, and we're trying to be pioneers, creating new types of entertainment for kids online. Disney did it with animated cartoons in the 20s, Jim Henson did it with TV and the Muppets in the 60s, Pixar did it in the 90s, and kids love the internet, they love playing online, they love new technology, and as I say, we think we're just scratching the surface. We're in the very early days of creating new forms of entertainment for them, and yeah, we think we're going to be around for a long time. There's wonderful stories and narratives for them to follow. We've got about 150 different characters, so not only do they just play online, as I say, there's all this stuff on offline for them. We're creating cartoons, we're doing music videos, we're working on a film. The sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm. From what I've read, you've obviously making quite a lot of money from merchandise. How else do you make money through Moshi? Because you can play some of the games for free, can't you?
Yes.
You can get started for free, and then, am I right, you pay to unlock some of the more advanced features?
Yeah, so it's a kind of traditional online business model, freemium, where anyone can sign up for free, which is wonderful because then there's no friction, no barriers to entry, and it spreads like wildfire if people like it. But then if children and their parents want to unlock premium part of the world, playing new games and new puzzles and becoming a super Moshi, then they pay £5 a month, which the parents we've spoken to think is great value for what their kids get compared to going to the cinema or a new DVD or a DS game. And so that's our primary revenue, and then secondary is all the merchandising and the licensing, so the books and the toys and the video games. And we haven't accepted advertising on the site to date. We think we're just focusing on subscription revenue and physical product so far.
Okay. there's obviously a social network aspect to Moshi Monsters, isn't there? So,
yes.
From what I've read, you've put a lot of thought into the safety side of things, haven't you?
Absolutely. So it's a huge responsibility looking after 40 million children, and we take it very, very seriously. So we have a large moderation team, and we use a combination of ways to keep the site safe. Human moderators, we have very sophisticated software to look for certain types of messaging, and we also teach the kids. We encourage them to report anything they see that they think is inappropriate or they feel uncomfortable about. And the combination of these measures, we feel, keeps the site very safe. And parents know their kids love the web and they want to spend time on it. And far safer for them to be in a walled garden like Moshi rather than in YouTube or Facebook or on the open web. So so far it's working very well.
Okay. As you said before, you've had some big successes and some, well, not necessarily failures, but not as success. I don't know if you have had any failures or if you want to talk about that. How you bounce back from things.
I've screwed up many times, and I think most entrepreneurs have. I think when you create a business, it's very high risk. The rewards are high, but and no one really knows, what the best way of creating a business or a product is. So you just have to be very experimental, and you have to be open to messing up. So I think as an entrepreneur, as long as you're willing to try stuff, and if it doesn't work, move on to the next thing, I think that's the best way to start a business. The entrepreneurs that have the toughest time are the ones that just get so wedded to one idea, and they just stick to it, and they burn through their cash, and then they end up with nothing. You've got to constantly tweak until you hit, and that's kind of what we've been doing.
Okay. Where do you get your ideas from, and how do you get inspiration?
I'm not sure. I read a lot. As a child, I used to read a lot. My dad was a librarian. He used to bring back all these weird and wonderful books. Morris Sendak and Dr. Seuss. I love the Muppets and Fraggle Rock and Mr. Men and Mr. Ben and all these wonderful kids' stories. So I think that kind of set my imagination off. I used to write all these stories and create these sort of magical worlds by myself. So I think, that's where a lot of it comes from. And then nowadays I go to a lot of parties and have a lot of friends and just kind of hang out with very creative people. And I think that's helped kind of inspire me and help create this weird and wonderful world that's Moshi. And we have such a fantastic team here as well that come up with a lot of the ideas.
Yeah. Obviously, the environment that you work in as well, it's a very inspiring office and place to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
How important do you think that is, the physical environment that you work in?
I think it's crucial. It just amazes me how many businesses and offices around the country are the same. The same strip lighting, the same blue carpets, the same identikit desks. And how on earth do you expect to kind of inspire and encourage and make your employees creative if they come into this kind of sterile environment? It's a place where they spend most of their working hours. It should be something that they enjoy coming to and have fun. And so we think it's worth spending a lot of time and money and energy to create an environment that people love. And so far, everyone here seems to really like working here.
Yeah. And you obviously touched on the team as well, the people that you surround yourself with in Moshi, but also outside of work.
Yes.
So how important is that, the type of people that you surround yourself?
Yeah, I think it's great to surround yourself with people who are very positive and very inspirational, very creative. I think birds of a feather flock together. That's an old used cliche. But I think if you surround yourself with people that are constantly putting your ideas down and telling you can't do something and just being negative, then you're never going to start your own business. You're never going to try something new. And I think conversely, if you're around people that are just high energy and very supportive and encouraging, then you can create extraordinary things. I think we live in this wonderful democracy and where capitalism allows anyone with a great idea to launch it and see if it works or not. I think I just think that's wonderful. That's why I think entrepreneurs are so fantastic. So anyone watching this with a great idea, I just say go, do it, try it. And if it doesn't work the first time, so what? Try again and try again until you make it.
Okay. You obviously had an early success with Firebox, but was it an overnight success or did it?
No, definitely not. So Firebox, we didn't get it right for ages. We were right on the brink of giving up. We didn't have enough money to do advertising. We didn't have enough money to do anything really, and we came up with this crazy idea for a shot glass chess set, and encouraged some people to give us credit to make it, and then we wrote press releases and sent it out to journalists, and suddenly it clicked, and we got a lot of coverage for it. But it took, the best part of a year, just kind of tweaking and twisting and thinking until we eventually got it right. So I think a lot of people look at entrepreneurs and think, oh wow, it's easy, it's an overnight success. But under the surface there's a huge amount of effort and sleepless nights and hard work that goes into it. But if you love what you do, it's not a tough thing. It's actually quite enjoyable.
Yeah. One of the things, because I buy things from Firebox, one of the simple things that I like from Firebox is just really simple things like there's a packet of Haribo inside the box.
Yes.
It's just such an easy touch, but little things like that make a difference. And the first time I got that, I thought, this is really cool. Not only are they selling cool products, but they're actually making a bit of an effort, a bit more of an effort than the usual place. So.
Absolutely, it's not like a big faceless corporation. No. And I think some companies do that really well. Innocent do it amazingly, with all the little funny copy they put on the bottles. And Zappos in America do it with their incredible customer service. So, as I say, it doesn't need to be expensive. You just need to come up with these wonderful creative ideas that connect you with your customers, and then they're obviously going to want to share and tell their friends. And I think that's the most powerful form of marketing.
And congratulations, you've just won an award, haven't you? Is it the Startup 100 award?
We came second.
Second.
Yes, it's a sore point. So we won't talk about that.
So what was it for Virtual World?
It was so it's the Daily Telegraph Startup 100.
Right.
So I think we won the Games and Virtual World section, and then runner-up in the whole competition. Not really kidding. It was great to do that. Yeah.
How important do you think awards are, or for recognition, or?
Do you know? I think awards are fun and they're great, and I love the awards parties, and you can take some of the team down and celebrate together. But in the grand scheme of things, what's important is the business and building something amazing for your customers. So I think some companies do get a little bit carried away with awards and spend their whole time winning awards. But I think you've got to kind of look after both.
Do you want to say something about networking? Because there's a lot of people talk about networking like that's all they need to do, just network all the time. But you've actually got to do the work as well. So
absolutely.
Have you got anything to say about that? Any advice?
Well, I think being an entrepreneur is about spinning multiple plates. There's no silver bullet. There's no one thing you need to do. It's a combination of a whole load of stuff. So networking is just one of the things that I found very valuable as an entrepreneur. And I don't even class it as networking. I think that's a very American way of looking at it, where you march around a room and hand out your business card to people. I think if you genuinely enjoy people and love spending time and getting to know them as a person first, and then anything that flows from that business-wise is almost incidental and a bonus, I think that's a better way of looking at it. So many of my best friends I met at parties and entrepreneurial events, but I wouldn't class it as traditional networking. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's a key word, isn't it? Making work fun.
Exactly. When I set up my first business, Firebox, just over 10 years ago, and I haven't really felt like I've done a day's work since then. It's my work life and my play life, everything is just one big wonderful jumble. And although it does get intense and stressful at times, it's still incredibly exciting and enjoyable.